All right. Mic check. I'm good. So I'm Max Duran. CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest. Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Duran, and in our special series, we are continuing here with Skills Canada NAC members. Today, we have a wonderful guest coming in from the east coast of Nova Scotia. We have Nicole Hamilton. Nicole, how are you doing?
Great. How are you, Max?
I'm doing great. Now, Nicole, is it Nicole or Nikki or Nick or Cole? I don't know. What any shortened versions or just Nicole is fine?
Nicole is fine. Most of the guys in the shop will either call me Nick or Nikki, but whatever you prefer.
So tell us where you're calling in from today. Where are you situated?
I am currently sitting at home in a small town in Nova Scotia.
So when you say small town in Nova Scotia, that can be almost all of Nova Scotia. So which part of Nova Scotia are you in?
I am in Maitland. So
Cool.
I'm on the outside of Shubenacadie.
So that's on the southeast?
I'm
I'm just guessing here. I have no idea. I have a 1 in 4 chance of getting this right.
near the mouth of the Bay of Fundy.
Okay,
If that
cool.
helps at all.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there, and it's beautiful. I love Nova Scotia, and I love the East Coast. So, were you born and raised in where you live, or have you moved around a bit?
I was born and raised in Middle Stewiacke, another small community.
Mm-hmm.
That's just on the outside of Brookfield. And I moved to Maitland with my boyfriend in 2017.
Okay, cool. So, what took you to Maitland?
Just another small, quiet community. Could keep horses, do my normal activities outside. Like I love to garden. I just love being outside. I'm not a big fan of the city. I don't like people living right on top of me kind of thing. So the country is where it's at for me.
So let's talk a little bit about your professional journey now. You know, for the people that are listening, normally we interview everything welding on this show, but for the skills, collaboration that we have going on, we're going province to province, talking to all the people involved with skills. And you yourself were in the Red Seal. You are a Red Seal Automotive Collision Repair and Refinisher. Is that the title, or is there a better title?
It's a long title, so I'll give you that one. Good tongue twister sometimes when you try to say it fast, but I like it's metal and paint, but I basically just specialize in paint. I can do like the body work in the metal, but if you just want to call me an automotive refinisher, that's a lot shorter. That's quite all right.
So that's it. That's a great point to bring up right there. That's interesting, even for people that are listening. You know, people think of auto body, they just think of auto body. It's like you drive it into this building, you got a fender bender or something happened, and now you need to get it fixed, right? But for the Red Seal automotive person or auto body person, there's a couple gigs in there. You know, there's a few aspects to auto body repair, and I'm sure they're divided up within the trade, you know?
Yeah. So like for us, like you said before, you interview a lot of welders. So in our trade, if I was in the body shop side, I would be a sheet metal worker. I would be a welder. I would be a frame straightener. I would be a sculptor in a way of how I put fill on and shape it and that kind of thing. Like there are many different trades within our trade, and it's definitely a lot. And I do know, like, especially like in Ontario, the automotive collision repair and refinishing, it's split into two trades. So they have auto body as a Red Seal, then they have automotive painter as a Red Seal. So it does, like, there's kind of a little bit of miscommunication between some of the trades, because when I say I'm both, they're like, oh, you went to school for both. And I'm like, no, it's all one in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that is a thing with the Red Seals and apprenticeship, is that they're not exactly the same in every province. Some provinces have different things, and it can be a little confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
So your specialization now within this wide spectrum is what?
Is mainly painting. Like I was a very artsy kind of student in high school, and I really like playing with colors. I like knowing how the colors work and how to it's called tinting. So like it's not just, oh, add black, it will turn the color darker. It's no, this black can flip the color blue or flip it yellow. And it's like, but why is that a thing? Like that intrigues me, and that's exciting to me.
I actually watched a YouTube video on tinting where they were trying. So they had this little competition where they would pull a paint chip from a random stack, throw it on the table, and then the painter had to match it perfectly so that you could drop the chip on it and it would just disappear. And the color combinations that were being used to get to that color or that specific tone would have never entered my mind. You know, like all of a sudden it's red going in, and then a type of purple, and then like I in my mind it's like whites for lighter, but no, like then you're working against the white. You actually needed a really light green to get you towards that shade of purple or whatever it was, you know. And it was really interesting. It was like, how quickly could you get there? And none of them were real quick. They were all
Yeah.
pretty tricky.
Yeah, tinting is one of the most difficult things in the painting side. It could take you very little time to figure it out, or it could take you days to figure out a color, and it can be very frustrating.
Yeah. Now with the generic OEMs, do they just say, "Hey, it's color 32B9," or is it always a bit of a mystery?
It's not really a mystery. So like we get paint codes. So like one that has a lot is a Toyota color. It's 1G3. So this paint code, I think even in our system, there's like 12 variants is what they're called. So you have one that's considered standard, as in like that's the prime or the original.
Like the base.
Yeah. Yeah. So then your variants are all a variation of standard. So like you could have redder or darker or lighter or bluer, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how you look at your color, like looking at it straight on is called your face, and looking at it at an angle is called your flop. So you need to match both your face and your flop. So like the face of standard could look good, but your flop could look too dark. So then you're going to try to look for a variant that says a lighter flop, kind of like that. It's a little bit of a guesswork, but you know, after a few years of training and really getting right into your colors, you kind of pick up on like, oh, that car, that's a really red car. There's definitely a redder variant somewheres. I should really look into that one first and just go from there.
So I got questions about this, but I want to go back in time because that's very interesting. Like I'm even just thinking like molecule wise, like how the chemistry of that would work. But you know, let's go back. Let's start at the beginning here because I kind of got ahead of myself. And you know, you said that you grew up and you were into coloring and art and that perspective of it. So, you know, as a young person growing up in small town Nova Scotia, you are expressing your interest in art. At what point during your K to 12 journey, you know, did you start thinking this might fit with auto body, you know, as opposed to graphic design or an artist or just being an artist, you know, or what was it that drove you towards this specific field?
Well, it's kind of funny. So originally I wanted to do video game art and design.
Okay.
And
That's
at that
awesome.
time,
I'm a huge gamer, so props all the way.
yeah. games. But at that time, there was nothing really available in Nova Scotia, and I didn't want to leave. So I was enrolled in the O2 program, Options and Opportunities. And my O2 teacher had suggested, because I was also really good in math, like I was taking calculus and was trying not to leave any doors shut in high school.
Mhm.
And she just said, well, why don't you become an engineer? And I just said, why don't I paint cars? And as simple as that, that's where I went. I applied for my college at NSCC in grade 11. I got accepted. I went in. I took my 2-year course. I continued through my apprenticeship. Now, yes, a lot has happened in between then and now, but
Mhm.
that's the real short story of it.
And when you made the decision to paint cars, did you like cars? Were you like a person that noticed cars? I'm a car guy, and I've learned that if you're not into cars, you're not into cars. Like I can be like, wow, check out that car. And if you're not into it, it's like, whatever. Right. So like why, or how did that fill in your life?
um, I don't really know. Like,
No.
I don't consider myself a car person. Like, yes, I can appreciate when somebody puts a lot of time and effort into their cars. Like, that's great. That's
Mhm.
not my thing, though. I'll spend my time and energy into something else that I really enjoy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy the fact of making it look nice for somebody else, or
Mhm.
to help them achieve kind of what they want in their life. Like,
The look they're
like the,
going for.
yeah, yeah. Like, there's like, not that I work at a custom shop, but it's always nice to see or hear of customers coming back and being like, "Oh, really great job on my car." Or if I was in a custom shop, like, "Oh yeah, me and my son are going to drive this car forever and it looks so great thanks to you." Like,
Mhm.
that just goes such a long way for a lot of people, and I really enjoy hearing that from people.
Now, when you registered at NSCC, great program, by the way, for the people that are out there. Great welding program too. Great people. Tony Rose out there kicking it. Awesome guys. Um, what was the representation for females in your course? Did you find yourself in a fairly well, diverse group, or were you, representing like in so many of the trades, you know, the only girl in the class or one of two?
It was pretty similar. I think we had a class of 24 maybe when we started. There was me and 2 other girls in the class,
Hmm.
and I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe I'm the only girl that finished all the ways through, as in like all of my block training, and got my red seal out of my
Got the red seal.
class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which tracks? Because out of every 12 students that finish a trades program, only about 4 to 5 get their red seal. So, and
Yeah.
then if you transfer that to even the lower percentage of women entering the trades, it doesn't bode well for journey persons in the fields. And in your experience, did you find it an obstacle at all to be a female in the program? Was there anything that you felt, was ever like, oh, do I have to deal with this again? Or was it a pretty good journey?
My school journey was definitely a pretty good journey.
Yeah.
Um, Now, not that the camera can really see, but like, I'm not a very big girl. Like, the joke is that I'm a skinny twig. Haha. It's funny. It's fine. But like, I definitely get a lot of looks of, "Oh, can you really lift that door?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "Sure." Haha. Right. But like, that's just like, that doesn't bother me. That's just kind of part of it. Like, yes, somebody is putting the stereotype onto me of I can't lift something heavy, but as a lot of country girls know, or country people, like, we can lift a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of power in that punch, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then you get through you're in school, you're learning how to do this trade, and like all school, there's blocks for the apprenticeship. So you're learning everything, all the pieces of this. At what point did the first introduction to skills happen? When someone was like, "Hey, do you know what skills is, or have you heard of skills?"
So for me, it was back in high school. I knew that there were other skills competitions happening. I didn't know if car painting was available for us as a secondary. Um, it's not in Nova Scotia, so I got I'll say deferred, I guess, until I was in college or finished some of more intense training. And so in my first year of college, I was going to sign up to compete, and they had suggested that I wait another year to go into the car painting side. They were fine if I went into auto body. It just different projects, like painting's expensive. Painting's a lot. So I waited until I was done my second year of college, and then that's when I started. I just kept going and kept going.
And that first, take us back to that first introduction to skills, where it's like, okay, you've decided you're going to be a part of this. You likely have an instructor or a mentor who's like, okay, this is the process, this is the stuff you're doing. Did you have kind of a good backup, a good mentorship for skills, or was it a lot of, as I've heard many students across Canada, kind of like, fend for yourself, good luck, go to the website, get the info?
Yeah, so for me, my first year, I didn't have, I wouldn't say I had a mentor. I had my college teachers just tell me similar kind of thing. Here's the website, sign up. So I was already pretty into yes, let's do skills, right?
Mhm.
So I signed up and did that. And actually, the guy who I competed against was very similar to me, and that was like his fourth or fifth year competing. So because of that, we became fairly good friends, and we've stayed connected through that whole time. And he actually became my mentor for the following years.
Awesome.
And he helped me through and answered any of my questions, or if I needed help, he was like, "Oh, I'm only a phone call away." So that was really great. I've always greatly appreciated him.
And how did it go that first year?
That first year, oh, I was so nervous. Intimidation was definitely the word. I knew he had been there. I knew he had gone to nationals. I knew he had competed, and I knew he was good. So I didn't watch him, but I followed him. I just tried to make sure I kept up the same general pace as him. Like, oh, he's priming now, I better get priming in the next 10 minutes, or I'm going to fall behind and I'm going to lose my time, and then I'll be done. But him and the judges that year definitely saw the potential in me, and they all like thanked me for coming out, and they were happy to see somebody else try for it. But yeah.
And did you get a podium finish that first year?
Yeah, it was, unfortunately, it was just him and I competing. So I placed silver, but woo!
Good job.
But yeah, I mean, I guess from what I remember, like our scores were fairly close, like not like with off 2 points or whatever, but within 70 points, we were within each other. So I felt great about that. Like
Good.
going against somebody who had 5 years experience on me, give or take, like that made me feel great.
And then you leave there, and are you already with the seed being like, next year's my year, coming back? Was that the plan?
Yeah, that was the plan.
And
That
then
continued to be the plan.
how was year 2 then? How did year 2 go?
Year two, I won gold. I believe there was 2 other competitors that year, and that was the first year I went to nationals. So that was in Saskatoon.
Oh, you're in my province. I'm here in
Yeah.
Saskatchewan. And I was at that skills, so I probably walked around, when you were doing stuff.
Probably.
I'm always snooping in at everyone's trades.
Yeah.
And, now, what did it feel like going from provincials to nationals? How did it, you said that first year that you ever tried it was intimidating and frightening. And then you go to nationals, and I'm not even competing in nationals, and I get intimidated by the thousands of people. How did it feel like for you? What was that experience like?
That was very intimidating. Like just all of the people, all of the cameras. Like I knew I had to focus on my projects, but where do you look? Like when people are taking your pictures or pulling you to the side for interviews or asking, well, I guess they couldn't ask us questions, but like even I remember doing a project. Oh, it was the tinting project, and I had to match the color on the car. It was a little plastic car.
Mhm.
And like there was, I guess their spectators were like leaning over and looking to see the same thing I was seeing. And they would make comments like, oh, well, that doesn't match. And it's like, I know it doesn't match. Like,
Not
hello.
yet.
Give me some time, please. But yeah, it was very like, what is it? Like not head in the sand, but head in the clouds. 'Cause you're just so in awe with everything. It's just, it's an experience that you can't describe.
Yeah. And how did you feel with your fellow competitors, meeting the people from all the other provinces that are doing the same thing you're doing? What was the camaraderie like among your group?
They were all pretty good. They generally all had about the same experience, 2-3 years into the trade. Pretty new to painting, kind of stuff like that. So I definitely felt like very secure around the people who I was. It wasn't like provincials that year,
Yeah.
where somebody was there for 5 years, and I'm like, oh no,
Mhm.
what do I do? Like they're gonna win, like,
We all
but
know.
yeah.
But it's not really about winning, and that's something that is really interesting about skills. That I'm so competitive. I was able to work as a mentor with a welding student, and he won provincials and nationals. We went to Russia, to Kazan in 2019, and it was a blast. But at the end of the day, it's not really about winning. It's the whole process is just awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, I do really agree with you on that. Like winning is the icing on the cake or the cherry on top of the cake, whatever
Mhm.
you want to say there. There's cake involved. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the journey, it's the people you meet, the family connections that you make, the other connections province wide, Canada wide that you make. Like I would have there's just so many people I would have never have met or came across if it wasn't for skills. Like
Well, let's talk about that then. As you've gone through your journey, you enjoyed the skills competition. You had fun. You won. You kind of you climbed to the top, and as most people who go through skills, that's kind of the end of the journey, and they're off to work now. They get their red seal, and it's the end of the day. But as I've seen with so many of these wonderful people during these NAC podcasts, is something held you in, something grabbed you, something anchored you, and here you are, still working with skills, but on the other side. So when you, I guess let's start first. When did you decide that you were going to remain part of the skills family even after competing?
uh like first year competing was like I'm here,
Forever.
I'm a lifer kind of thing. No, after I always said after I was done competing, I wanted to judge and judge provincially and nationally. So when nationals was here in Halifax in 2019, I believe,
Yep.
yeah, I judged provincially there, and I judge nationally, sorry, there, and I've judged provincially 3 years now, I believe, in Nova Scotia, and I do really, I still want to stay on, and I want to try to get onto the national level to judge and keep there. I want to see somebody go through the same thing that I went through,
Yeah.
like not coming back as much, and you know not reaching the podium as quick, but like it's still so nice to see somebody else like, oh, I was that person.
Yeah.
Like you accomplished what I've accomplished. It's a lot. It's a fun journey, but it's a hard journey too.
It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and it's not for the weak of heart, because there's going to be disappointments and tough times and days where it doesn't go. The trades, there's days in the trades where you're like, why am I here?
Yeah,
That's life.
it happens.
Yeah, that happens. So you first steps coming out of competition, you want to judge. Okay, for sure. You're doing a lot more than judging though. You do a lot of things in the volunteer capacity, even sitting with the National Alumni. What was the reasoning to stay involved like that on the helping, on the alumni and also with like planning committees and all that stuff?
I again, I'd like to see more people get into the trades. Like, I mean, I'm biased, but trades are where it's at. Like,
Hmm.
and I mean, we need more people, and we need more young people. And it's not like we'll need them in 5 years. We need them now
Yeah.
in any trade, because the trades are the backbone of anything and everything. And like, there's just so many people that don't get a chance or a good chance in a trade. Like, there's the normal, like, what do I call, or what do you call it? Like, apprentices kind of get picked on a little bit. They kind of get the not so great jobs, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, they're just starting out. Yes, they need to learn all of it. But if you only give them hard or difficult
The
jobs,
junky jobs.
yeah, you're just like, would you like to change oil for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
No.
You're not gonna have a good experience of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want to be the one now. Yes, different trade mechanics, but I want to be the one like pulling out the transmission and the engine, right? Like, you want to build up to it. Like,
Yeah.
just
Well,
keeping
and
you
that's
at the bottom isn't going to help. Sorry.
yeah, no, and that's true. It's part of a proper mentorship. I talk about it all the time with training programs. Is you got to cycle mentorship. It can't just be like you said, all one thing. You gotta be like, okay, we gotta do this thing, which is not enjoyable, but I had to do it. You have to do it. We all have to do it. Let's do it for a week, not 6 months, and then I'll show you something else. Now, maybe the week after, you're going to be going right back to that job, but at least I gave you a taste of something else. Try to fill in a little bit other information just to keep the job interesting, because nobody likes doing the same thing forever. Like nobody does.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you.
Now, where you live, you said it's a smaller area. This is where you're building your life. Sounds like you got horses. Everyone I know out in Nova Scotia seems to have a snowmobile of some kind. Like, so, what's the work like there? This is a question I get all the time. I'm out in the prairies. We're dying for laborers here. We're dying for skilled tradespeople. In sleepy Hamlet, Maitland, Nova Scotia, or where it's in smaller rural area. Is there work? Is there people clamoring for work like out here? Is it how's your shop? Is it busy? What's it like?
So I drive an hour to work every day. So like, I work in the city, so I work in Dartmouth.
Okay.
So like, there's a few smaller shops around us. Like, I could go into Truro or Onslow or something. They're dealerships, which I mean isn't bad. It's just different kind of work than like a production shop, like a full force production shop.
Yeah.
And so I mean, yes, everybody's hammering and asking for people to work. We only have one program that's a 1-year course that only about 20 people are coming out of every year. So in a year, you only have 20 students in auto body. Like, that's not going to fill the gap of, I don't know how many people, I don't know the numbers, but it's not going to fill the gap.
Well, especially
So
with
like,
the people that are retiring or quitting.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, so yes, we are asking, or we need people. We always need people, but like, work is pretty steady. Like, I don't know, I can paint anywheres between 4 to 6 cars a day, like, give or take.
You
And
can
I
paint
mean,
6 cars a day?
yeah.
I feel like painting a car would take a week. Like, I guess I wouldn't make much money then as a car painter, but
No. But that's okay. That's okay. We can teach you though.
Yeah, well, just call me when someone crashes and you got to weld something. I'm your
Okay.
I'm your
Okay.
dude then. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
All right, and like and for like the 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 college program that you guys having out there, you're saying 20 a year. That's it's like I think about this all the time. How do we even train enough people? How do we even get enough people to get in the trades to make this not be a problem? Have you thought about that? What would be an idea that you have about what we could do to get more people in the trades?
I like that's such a loaded question, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, everybody asks the question. I just trades in general, like people. I say people, but like kids need to learn about trades. Like, and I don't mean like kids like 14. I mean like elementary kids.
Yep.
Like they should get to know like, oh, the Legos you play with, like that could be a job. You can build a building. So why don't we take some of that initiative and try to help them learn how things go together or see how electricity works or travels, like, or how the water flows through pipes. Like it sounds dumb, but the simple little things that you can kind of get into younger kids' minds the earlier you can, I think that will really make a spark, and they'll see hopefully all of the potential of the trades at a younger age, and maybe they'll get more into it and think about it later in life.
Yeah, and it's always shocking to me how large percent of the population has no idea how the things around them came to be. Power, the heat, the water, the buildings, the plumbing, the vehicles, they consume, they own, they buy all these things, but they have literally no idea how any of them have come into existence. And that starts at an early age, getting people to question those things. Like you brought up Lego, and you know what my brain initially said when you're like, "There's like Lego." I didn't even think about building stuff with Lego. You know what I thought of?
Oh.
The machine that makes the Lego. That would be the coolest machine. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever seen a Lego making machine?
No.
No, but I want to now, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm curious, and I bet that would be a really fun job at the Lego factory running the Lego making block machine. Like that's a fantastic trades job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, see, and different people think of it in different ways. Like
Hmm.
that proves it right there. You thought of the machine that made it. I thought of it as your building.
And the colors and what it looks like. It's
Yeah.
the same thing though, all these different aspects. Yeah, it's wonderful. All right. So in your journey, like, go back to, grade 11 when you're like, I'm going to paint cars. And to today when you're like a, full on certified master of your profession. Now, what skills do you have today that you have had to acquire during this long journey? What couple skills, one or two, that surprised you that when you were, 14 and you were just getting into this, you didn't expect that to be so important?
That's kind of a difficult question for me because, again, in our options and opportunities program, we were kind of not taught to look at those kind of things, but we were suggested to look at like the numeracy, the problem solving, like all of the essential skills of that, and try to figure out what do you excel in and what do you kind of not excel in. I won't say
Yeah.
struggle because not whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
Words.
Yeah.
So it's always been in my mind. Like, I mean, my day-to-day job, I need to problem solve. I need to write, read, numeracy, like everything. So nothing really stands out as a big, like, surprise kind of thing.
Yeah. And time commitment, time management, work environment, you were prepared, you were ready for it?
Yeah, so I was just ready. Like, I mean, my father's a carpenter, so I knew what an honest, hard day looked like.
Mhm.
Like, I knew what he did all day, every day. So it wasn't out of the question in my mind to go do something very similar to my father. Just no, not the same trade, but it never bothered me to put in a good hard day working, I guess. I know we kind of differentiated from your question there, but
No, but it's still valid because you know one of the sweetest things that I wish I could put into like a candy and give to people for them to understand like instantly is that an 8 to 10 hour day in the trades is a blink of an eye.
yeah.
It's a blink of an eye. People that work in offices are like, oh, 410s, or oh, you worked 12s, or I did shifts of 16 for years, 3 16s, 3 days off, 4 days off, then another 5 16s, and people would be like, how do you do that? And it's like, yeah, but I don't do your job where you're behind a desk glazing over out of boredom trying to do reports. I'm in a trade. And when I'm working, time doesn't exist because
Mhm.
like literally a whole day will like when it's like, hey, it's lunchtime, you're like, what?
Yep.
Already? Happen that would happen like every day. Like
Yep.
lunchtime, what? 5 hours already went by. You had no idea. You know what I mean? And the trades is so wonderful at that I wish office people could sense that feeling of joy.
Yeah. Yeah. I do agree with you because there are days it's like, what do you mean it's 3 o'clock? What do you mean? I got to get this car done. I won't get this car done.
All right. Well, to wrap up the interview, this is I tried to keep the questions as not generic as possible because you said, "Oh, you've done so many podcasts, they're all generic," and I was like, "No, I'm going to ask weird questions." But so I think I've done a pretty good job of asking you not the standard questions.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
will have to end with the standard one because this is kind of the point where I try to bring your story to the pavement where you know in your experience, as the thin stick girl that they call you, the
Thin
whatever it
twig.
was, the
Skinny
thin
twig. Skinny twig.
right, the skinny twig girl from small town Nova Scotia who has to drive an hour to work and went to Skills a whole bunch of times, your life story. What advice would you give to someone anywhere in Canada that's in a similar position? They're, a young girl, woman, looking that has a sense of art, that loves color, loves palettes. And what advice would you give them to say, like, this is a real option for you? This is a possibility that you should look at.
Try it. Like, it doesn't matter if, like, like my skills, I will not like my skills. I didn't fail, but I kept trying and I kept
Mhm.
going back and I kept learning. And every year I'd always ask the judges, how could I do better to improve? Like, you can't, like you said, it's not all about winning. It's the connections you make, your hard work and determination, and your willingness to grow and learn from your mistakes and to build on what you've done and to have a goal. Like everybody wants to be the best painter, right?
Mhm.
But like, you have to start somewhere. Like, you have to mess up a couple of colors to figure out, oh, this is a tricky color, this is what I have to do. But like, there's no harm in trying, and but there's harm in giving up. Like,
Mhm.
what
You'll
if you only
you'll never
try
know. Yeah.
once? Yeah, if you only try once, like, is that an honest effort to a potentially good, rewarding career? Or do you keep trying, like I did, going back to nationals for 4 years? You keep trying and trying until you achieve something. And honestly, if you're happy with what you've done and what you've put forward, then that's all that matters. Like, you've put in your best effort, so try.
That's great. And there are many women in the auto body and automotive industry now really making a name for themselves. Like on Instagram, you can see some amazing women in Canada doing great jobs. And it is a very viable trade. I know there's even all female body shops in Canada that are doing super amazing work. So Thank you very much, Nicole, for having this talk with me today and teaching me lots.
Yeah. Thank you, Max. Hopefully, I didn't bore you too much with
Oh
my paint.
gosh, no, gosh. I love cars, and I have cars with like pretty specific paints, so I know the struggle. Now, are you going to be in Winnipeg? Are you going to be there for nationals this year?
Yeah, I'll be in nationals this year, so I might see you floating around. And
Yeah, I'll be there. And for all the people that have been listening to the podcast, make sure you get to Winnipeg. Check out a national skills event. They are insane fun. They're a very, very good time. And you sure learn a lot and meet a lot of people. And what's next for you now? Are you off to start a new business? What's the next plan?
I'm kind of just staying, working at the shop that I'm at, and just painting every day, all day, like I've always wanted to. So
Awesome. Okay, well, everyone, make sure you keep downloading these. Make sure you check out all the skills podcasts. We're going to have over 13 of them. We're doing 3 or 4 of them at Winnipeg, like in Winnipeg. So we're going to do a few there. And it's been a really good time. So thank you again, Nicole, for the time today. And I'll see you in Winnipeg.
great. Thank you. See
All
ya.
right. And everyone, stay tuned for the next episode. It will be coming up, and I can't wait to put these all out on the air. We've been banking them all. I got about 7 or 8 done. We're aiming for about 14 of them, and it's going to be awesome. If you found this one, make sure you find the rest and listen to them all. All right, so stay tuned.
We hope you enjoyed the show.